to the whole group, in case you don't know, one of the people who walked in late, where's Kim Sheets? There she is. Sitting over there in the corner. That's Dr. Kim Sheets. She does a lot of spay neuters in the community. She operates Sheets low-cost pet clinic, which is a full-service vet. She does a lot of feral cats. And of course, Aaron Stratford Owens is the executive director of Planned Pet, which is also a big low-cost clinic. So we have two of the clinics represented here. Thank you for coming.
And I would like to welcome Commissioner Perdue, who's sitting in the very back corner, hiding from everyone.
How are you?
But we do have someone here representing from the county, the commissioners, so welcome. I think this is your first meeting with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any other pieces?
I wanted to ask about, and get everybody's ideas, I'm been getting a lot of emails and stuff on animals freezing to death, and these low temperatures and all. I mean, I know that they have to have adequate housing and all, but it's been extremely cold, and, you know, what can we do to help these people with their animals from freezing to death? I mean, I've had to go get two animals in 1 week out of the cold, because they, you know, didn't have adequate shelter or running up loose, and, you know, I just worry about these cold temperatures and animals out in the cold like that. I know that if they have a dog house, but it's still cold, you know, and I don't know if there's something we can do to educate the community on that, what else they could do to keep the animals warm, but I hear so many people say, oh, it's just a dog, they're not gonna freeze to death, they're fine, you know, and that's not true. We get cold, I know they get cold.
Yeah, so I'll mind gazing and I'll answer that one. So there's a lot of things that we can do. Earlier today, I had a conversation with Jeff Phillips about our ordinances and the lack of teeth our ordinances have to protect animals during extreme weather, whether it's too hot or whether it's too cold, because the same applies. I've had those conversations with Keith and the team about what tools do our officers have to enforce those ordinances. And we need to work together on strengthening those ordinances, giving the tools to our animal control officers so they can do a little bit more, a lot of community sharing of information on what the community can do, but also not only sharing the information, but having them understand, having all of us understand that we're not gonna take this lightly, that what we've been doing in the past is just going out there, this isn't not adequate housing, we need to take care of it, and then we drive away. So we do a welfare check, but we really don't have a lot to stand on. So we need to work on enforcing the laws, getting the team up and ready, and getting them the resources they need to enforce those ordinances. And then last, and probably the most important, is that our shelter needs to be ready to handle those animals. Because if we are not going to put that animal that we're moving from the property in a better situation, then it's probably better off where the animal is. So we need to work on improving the conditions that we have at the shelter so we're able to help those animals in the community that we do need to remove. So we're gonna work in that direction because, I mean, of course, I came in probably the coldest week ever in history. It's been an interesting few weeks for me, but yeah, I've been having those conversations, so.
Thank you.
And Mr. Shea, can I ask you a question about that? So are you saying that like the cold and heat are not really covered adequately just due to the normal abuse and neglect language?
I think we need to be very specific in saying if the temperature drops to X,
Yeah.
30 degrees or below, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
If the temperature is above 95 degrees, 92 degrees, you know, this is like working with our veterinarians at the shelter in our community and just saying what you would consider to be reasonable if the owner had a dog tied in the backyard or was keeping the dog, not even tied, but just keeping the dog in the backyard, shade, water, sheltering. What would that reasonable temperature be for an animal to be comfortable outside, and determine that. So that way the officers have a threshold where they say it's this cold, no, we're not giving you a warning, we're not giving you a citation, we're removing the animal.
And that language would be in the ordinance?
It would have to be in order for them to have, and I keep pointing back there because I'm all sitting in the back row, but for them to have that tool in their back pocket to be able to do that. So, but again, I think it's a bigger conversation, but it's one that I've been having that I feel, I know Philadelphia, is it Philadelphia that just passed one? I know Indianapolis has a really strong one that is very specific on that depicts 32 degrees or below, they can do X and they can do this.
Cause it's really not covered under Susan's law, I don't think.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
worded
No, it's
to
not.
cover that,
No.
and I think, like you said, we need some type of ordinance that covers certain temperatures. You know, surely someone can take their dog in overnight if it's that cold, you know.
Right.
Also, I believe, although our ordinance is definitely need to be strengthened, it's also it's also client education.
Yes.
So we need to be more vocal in saying, because a lot of people I've seen, we can take your dog away, but they're like, well, wait a minute, I didn't know. And although we're like, oh, of course you knew, you wouldn't want to be outside with this. But if we're able to say, hey, if you're able to get hay, if you're able to get blankets, if you're able to bring them into a garage, if you're able to do any of these things and being more of a vocal advocate to the community to say, this is the things that you need to do, and then telling them these are the repercussions of not doing them if you're found. Instead of just saying, oh, I'm gonna come in here and although this sounds very crude, just come in here and take it off, because it's too cold. So I really think we need to do a lot more client education, on what are appropriate methods of keeping your pet warm or keeping your pet cool in hot months.
Yeah, I mean, we do a good job at 4th of July,
Mm-hmm.
when summer gets here, a hot car. You know, when Christmas is here, the ornaments your dog, your cat's gonna eat, and, you know, Valentine's Day with chocolate. So we do a lot of that small community engagement, community, you know, sharing of information on what not to do, when these seasons or these holidays are coming around. But we need to focus on doing the same thing, on sharing what our ordinance is and, you know, what the consequences are if you're not following those rules. We are going to be working hard on going back to your question about how many of these cases actually made it to court. We will work on that.
Well, that's a huge concern.
Yes,
I mean,
Yeah.
but,
before all that happened.
but,
And I think the animal control officers need the leverage to carry through.
Right.
And have ordinances, it's like the Tethering ordinance was passed, and it's way past, issuing citations, but they're still issuing citations.
yeah, I mean, they're probably back there nodding heads right now, because, yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
Well, Frankini's here, and she was the head of that committee. And, I mean, we worked hard to get all that done, and it's not being enforced. It needs to be enforced.
Yeah, and animals freezing to death, to me, is animal cruelty. You know, I mean, I got a picture this week of a female who was pregnant, frozen to death, and there was a dog house. She was trying to get in all the little shadings, and there was shadings on her, the dog was frozen to death. So that's sad.
Well, you know, there's they offered last week for food and the kennels. I don't think 15 people showed up for the kennel. They can take the kennel, one of those plastic house, and take the animal inside. And then if you break it down, it doesn't really take up that much space in your home. I mean, for one thing, you break it down, you could use it as storage, and you would have it for another emergency. But you don't have the people that are gonna take advantage of that.
Unless they're made to take them.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I think,
They just look at, oh, it's an animal, it doesn't get cold, but they do.
There is an organization that, is it Project Ark that provides those, plastic barrels for dogs? Yeah, and that's great, so I think we need to publicize that more, and make the community really, really aware that that is available. But you guys also do the ones for cats that you can make out of a plastic
If
tub
we
with
get,
the
if we
styrofoam
get,
liner?
as far as the cat ones, they're 15-gallon barrels, if we can get them.
it's very hard to get the
They're hard to
barrels.
get. The 55-gallon barrels have been around. And what Brenda is saying is so true. When the anti-tethering ordinance went into effect, and even before then, we were getting many, many calls from animal control that get a doghouse, get a doghouse, get a doghouse. As time has gone, we hardly get any calls anymore.
Really?
So I think what Brenda is saying is partially true. And I'm not pointing any fingers, but it's pretty unusual that as time has gone on and everybody's sort of forgotten about anti-tethering, we're not getting those phone calls. We got one. Josie got us a call a week ago. She called and said, I got a lady who lives off Merritt Drive, is sleeping on the front porch with her 9-month-old dog. She's sleeping out, this was 3 weeks ago. So you know the weather's gone by in the last 3 weeks? That's where she's sleeping. We went there, we placed a dog house, we gave her blankets, we gave her dog food, we got the dog spayed. But that's a rare instance. We are not getting those calls from animal control anymore. Yeah, we got the barrels.
We're enforcing the no tethering. If we go out to a residence, we might give them 30 days to build an enclosure. They don't build that enclosure, we will write them a citation. We have to go to the magistrate and he has to give us a warrant to be able to pull that dog off of a property. We just can't go up in the backyard and pull him because he's on the tether. We can go to the magistrate and say, hey, this is what we have. If he denies us to go on that property and pull that dog, only thing we can do is write citations. So that's, like the new director was saying, if we don't have no teeth, we need to be able to go on that property. If we already give them 30 days, 35 days, and be able to go ahead and pull the dog, then if we go to the magistrate for a warrant and he denies, only thing we can do is go back and write another citation.
Keith, is that also applicable to the new, spay and neuter law where they can, where if you get a call to, because an animal is unruly or, you know, whatever, and that animal is not neutered, and then you can say your choice is have the animal neutered or pay the $200 if they say, no, I'm not having the animal neutered, are you, with that one allowed to take, or you seize the animal, or you still have to go to the magistrate?
Still to the magistrate, only thing we can do is write that citation for the $200.
That's not what I understood.
I think we
The spay neuter thing.
need to go
Can I
to
say
the
something? You at the end, Frankie? Can you wait till the end? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
I think
with the spay
we
neuter
need
thing,
to make sure that our control officers have the authority to do what they're supposed to do to stop an animal from suffering. It's a waste of time and energy to go check on something if you're not gonna do anything about it.
Financial resources.
My thinking.
Is Guilford County this way? That's the way it is in many counties in North Carolina.
Most, not all,
Okay.
not all. There's some progressive ones out there.
Is there any other